Hello everyone. In this video, we're going to take a look at privileged task automation capability rolled out in PAM360 version 7500. So, privileged task automation capability basically allows you to automatically perform privileged tasks that you typically do manually by leveraging privileged access or by using privileged credential. So to achieve this capability, PAM360 has a direct integration with Qntrl, which is a business process management platform from Zoho Corporation. So we have a direct integration with Qntrl, which is what allows PAM360 to be able to trigger and complete privileged tasks. So under Admin tab, if you navigate to Workflow Automation or Workflow Orchestration section, you would find this new option called Privileged Task Automation. Now, it is good to note that we already have robotic process automation integration with solutions like Automation Anywhere and Cortex XSOAR. So you might already have these tools and you might be using these bots to perform some of these privileged tasks, in which case PAM will deliver secrets and credentials and broker credentials for these bots to perform their jobs. But in case if you don't have an RPA solution, then you would be able to leverage PAM360's own PTA module to perform some of these privileged tasks automatically. So now to configure that, there are three main tasks you need to perform. First, you need to register Qntrl with PAM360. Now to do that, you need to create a Zoho account. Based on the region you are from, you can pick the URL, log into it and sign up and create an account for you or for your organization, and then access the developer console URL respective to your region. Using the same Zoho account, you can log into the API console, generate a client ID and a client secret. By creating PAM360 as a server-based application, you would be able to generate a client ID and client secret. And the next step is, once you have the client ID and client secret, you can come to PAM and download the bridge installer. So the bridge installer is basically the executable that you have to install on a bridge server. Now PAM360 is an on-premise software. It may or may not have permanent internet connectivity. So you could download this bridge server installation and install it in the same PAM server. In the sense, PAM360 application and bridge server can be the same, or you could grab another virtual machine or a dedicated machine in which you can install this bridge server. But this bridge server is what is going to execute the actual circuitry that you create by having a connectivity between PAM360 and the Qntrl application. So this bridge server can be downloaded and installed on a Windows machine or a Linux machine, and in my case I already have the bridge server installed on a Linux machine. So download the bridge server installation, execute it. It will typically get installed in the app data directory. Once the installation is successful, you will see the host name in which it's listening. So simply copy that host name and navigate to the PAM360 section. You will find a add URL button here. Supply the bridge server URL and activate it. So you will find activate as the status and active as a status, and you can see the details of where you have the bridge server registered. So once you've done that, you are now all set to actually create privileged tasks and have PAM360 perform those tasks. So if you go to the privileged processes section, there are some default tasks that comes bundled with the application. Say for example, file transfer. So if I create a new process and if I click next, it will allow me to create a circuitry. You can see start, the status, and then end here. So for the state, I could do a file transfer as the state. So let me just go back to admin, privileged task automation, and let me just edit this file transfer tasks just to give you an idea. So in the left pane, you can see certain tasks like SSH engine, file transfer, creating a user in AD or creating a group in AD, a lot of Active Directory administrative activities that you typically do manually are already available out of the box. But in addition, there's also a PowerShell engine, which means you could literally use any PowerShell script to do any kind of a privilege activity via PAM360's PTA module. So in this example, I have a file transfer operation schedule. So if I click on edit, I can see the file transfer. The bridge ID is the server in which I have the PAM bridge server installed. It's a recursive operation. I have selected the source host from where the file needs to be lifted. The actual file I want lifted is called OpenSSL 1.1. It's a Linux box, and it's a server name, and the account with which PAM is going to authenticate and lift that file is test. And then the destination server, where I want the file to be dropped, I wanted to create a folder called OpenSSL inside which I want the file to be dropped. So this is a simple circuit to lift a file and move it to another machine. Now let's execute this, but before we do that, let's go to that target machine and see if the file is already there, which I hope it isn't. But yeah, you may know that from PAM you would be able to launch an SSH session without you having to manually supply the credentials. There you go. We are inside the box. I am going to open the OpenSSL folder, and I'm going to do a ls. So I can see that the ls comes back empty, which means there is no file here. So let's go back to PTA section and trigger that particular circuit. In this case, there's file transfer. Like I said, you could execute it on demand, or you can go to the schedule tasks and also schedule this job to be executed periodically. In this case, I'm going to click on execute and run. There you go. So it says success. I'm able to see the start and end time, the duration it took to complete this circuitry. And there's not a lot of output because the task is to basically lift the file and then move it to another box. But if there is any, you would be able to see the inputs we provided and the outputs we received. So let's go back to that SSH session. Let's do a ls again, and there you go. So you have a new file called OpenSSL, which was lifted from the host machine and transferred to this destination machine. So this is a quick example of what you could do with our privileged task automation module. But the use cases are vast. You could do elevate user, delegate user, a lot of Active Directory operations, or any other administrative task that you would like to perform in your infrastructure. You could automate it using our privileged task automation module. Like I said, there are default activities, but you can also use the scripts area to add your own PowerShell scripts. So for example, I have added a PowerShell script to do user elevation. So this script will basically grab a user and elevate that user into a local administrator group of a box. So I could have this script run as and when it is required, and then also run the delegation script to revoke the permission given to that user. So yeah, a log shipping, log management, Active Directory administration, even patching. So if you want like periodically patch VMs that you create every day, let's say you create 10 new VMs every day, they get destroyed, and you create new VMs, and it happens on a daily basis, for example, and you would like to patch those VMs with all the latest patches. So you could use our PTA module, upload all the patches, use the circuitry. When a VM is created automatically, PAM would patch that virtual machine automatically until the VM is available, and once it gets destroyed, the process gets repeated over and over again as and when a new VM gets created. So yeah, there's a lot of use cases that can be achieved using this privileged task automation module. Like I said, the default ones are very good. You could also use your own PowerShell scripts and use the bridge server to execute these privileged tasks either on demand or on a scheduled basis. So thank you so much for watching the video, and hopefully we'll see more capabilities in the upcoming videos.